What do you do in the moments when you feel unmotivated? You don't want to do the thing. You're like, I'm not motivated to do it. I don't want to do it. It's a drag. It's a lot. Oh man. What do you do in those moments? Do you just stop doing it? Do you step away from it? Do you procrastinate? Do you push through it? Ask yourself that question, right? A lot of us though struggle because we typically want to feel motivated when we're doing something hard, right? We want to feel excited about every class we take. We want to feel like, all right, I got momentum with the GRE. And the truth is, there are some times that feel great and there's times that don't feel as great. There's classes that you'll enjoy and there's classes that you'll hate. I hear it all the time, especially with pre-PTs. I love anatomy. I hate chemistry and physics. I get it. Like, I did too. Those are my two nightmare classes. In fact, I had 2 tutors for each of them. So I get it, right? But what do you do when you're not motivated to do something, when you're not motivated to take a class, when you're not motivated to study, but you still have to because you have this other goal of becoming a doctor of physical therapy? That's what I want us to talk about. And that's why I titled it, Why Motivation is Overrated If You Want to Become a PT. Now, before I dive in, my name is Joseph Kuki. I am a physical therapist, one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where for years we have helped students get into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. And so if that's what you're interested in, you're on the right page. But let's talk about this, motivation. So this whole journey has so many ups and downs, right? And I think in the ups and when we're enjoying the journey and we feel good, we're getting good grades, all that stuff, it's nice, right? But there's moments that are not as fun. The way you'll notice those moments is pay attention to the things that you push off to the future. Pay attention to the things that you procrastinate on. Oh, yeah, I've been thinking about starting the GRE studying for the past 6 months, or I've been wanting to apply to schools, but it just seems like a lot. Like, it's all these things that are just not fancy. They're not exciting. They feel dull, they feel overwhelming at times, right? And we just don't feel motivated, right? And there's an interesting kind of shift in mindset that has to take place when you realize that when you're going towards a goal, like when you're building towards a dream or something that you want, it's not always going to be pretty, right? So what do you do in those moments when you don't feel motivated? What do you do in the moments where you don't feel like doing certain parts, right? Because here's the truth. If you skip over the hard stuff, you'll rarely ever get to the thing you want, right? If you don't take the GRE, then what if the school that you're applying to needs the GRE? You won't be a good applicant. If you don't retake the 4 prerequisite classes that are C's or below, then you might not have a high chance of getting into a program. If you don't focus on, let's say you hate writing, if you don't start writing your essay, you see how it connects, right? But we typically avoid or try to avoid or delay or procrastinate or push off the things that feel hard. Now, there's a solution to all that, but let's talk through it first, right? Because one of the first things I want you to think about is the fact that you really have to be anchored on why you're doing this in the first place, right? Because even in the moments when you don't enjoy certain things, you have to anchor on, what is it that I'm really doing this for? Am I doing this just to pass the class? Am I doing this just to get a good score on the GRE? Or am I doing this to become a physical therapist, right? And even that's not enough, right? So if you're like, yeah, I want to be a PT. Okay, why did you want to be a PT in the first place? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you fighting so hard for this? Well, because I like movement. Well, there's other professions that like movement, that move, like where you can stand all day. You could be a trainer. You could be a massage therapist. You could be a chiropractor. There's so many other professions. Why PT? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why this and not other things? And if you don't know, by the way, please go figure that out. Go figure that out, because one of the best ways to go through the moments where you do not feel motivated is by knowing why the heck you're doing it, right? And so, and why I say this is because even in conversations that we have with students, this is where we have to anchor. Like, whenever I've seen students that have had super low GPAs, because we've had students that have worked with us that have had GPAs as low as a 2.4 after graduating college, or have been rejected as many as 4 or 5 years in a row before starting to work with us. And there's certain things that they need to do that they don't want to do, right? And so they're not motivated to do them, and we're anchoring on the thing they want on the other side. So what is it? Well, maybe I want to give back to my community. Why? Well, because I grew up in a community where it was low income, and the people that I knew growing up just were not taken care of well when it came to healthcare. And I want to be the person that's a beacon of hope for them, but I also want to be the one that provides the quality care that they need, right? So maybe for you, it's My why is a family member of mine. I had a family member. I had a grandma that I watched have multiple surgeries, and I was there for her. I went to physical therapy with her, and I saw how much they cared for her and how much life they gave her back, and how it's brought her so much joy, how it's brought us so much joy as a family. And I want to do that for other people. Like, start pulling on what is it, like, why are you doing this thing? Because if you don't know why you're doing it, it's going to be so much harder for you to push through the stuff that does not feel great. Does that make sense? And so whenever you start procrastinating, ask yourself, am I so focused on how hard this thing is that I'm procrastinating on, as opposed to focusing on why I'm doing this in the first place, so that it fuels me to say, all right, well, listen, I don't want to take the GRE, but I want that. I got the community waiting for me. I got people like my grandma waiting for me. So guess what? I am going to start studying today. I'm going to schedule that retake for that class today. I'm not waiting anymore, even though I don't want to retake chemistry, even though I don't want to retake biology, right? And this is real, but if you are not careful, then you'll start pushing things off, and then you'll start thinking, well, maybe I'll just do the fun stuff. Maybe I'll just add more shadowing hours. If I add more shadowing hours, maybe that'll cover up everything else. Maybe the schools won't see them, almost as if you were trying to trick the schools that see tons of applicants every single year. So they've seen students like you before so many times. So you're not going to fool them, right? And so what are you anchoring on? Are you anchoring on how hard this thing is, or are you anchoring on why you're doing it in the first place? And here's the cool thing. The cool thing is, if I'm anchoring on why I'm doing it in the first place, then I start looking at my obstacles a little differently, right? This thing that I'm pushing off, I start asking myself, okay, so what is it about this thing that's leading me to push it off or procrastinate on it or not feel motivated by it? Well, sometimes it's, I don't know where to start, right? Sometimes I don't feel motivated simply because I feel overwhelmed and confused. I don't know where to start. But I was so consumed by the fact that I don't know, I'll push it off till later, as opposed to just saying, well, I don't know where to start. Who can help me, right? Y'all see how it starts to change? You ask different questions, right? Or I do know where to start, but the last time I did it, it didn't go as well. Okay, cool. Who can I leverage? How can I do things differently this time, right? So now you actually start to create a plan around the things that you're afraid of. Does that make sense, right? But this whole lack of motivation thing, you're not always going to be motivated. I'm telling you right now, like I'm a high energy guy, but there's times I'm not motivated, right? And if I'm not motivated, I have to anchor on the thing that's most important, the reason why I'm doing it in the first place. And if I can do that, then everything starts to basically like fall in line. Like I'll give you one last example that I gave a student recently. We were having a conversation, and we were talking about, and this was in relation to business, right? Because we own multiple businesses, and this is another business owner who was in the earlier stages of building theirs, right? And I know this doesn't relate to PT school, but it's similar. And so they were in the earlier stages of building their business, and they were just having a period where they didn't feel motivated. And we kind of had this same conversation. It's the same stuff in life. It doesn't matter if it's school or business or whatever, right? And he asked me what motivates me, and I said, well, one of my things is the fact that I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be the parent that tells my kid, and we have another child on the way, so tells my kids to follow their dream when I'm not following mine, right? So what we're building with Pre-PT Grind, or our other business, Cash and Class University, or some of our other projects and programs and this, and the life that we're building for y'all, but also for our families and whatnot, like this is part of a dream, right? And so this is part of a bigger vision. And so I'm like, well, I can't be a hypocrite. If I'm going to be the parent that says, son, daughter, go follow your dreams, right? Most parents say that, but here's the crazy part. Most parents say it hypocritically, not realizing. Because most parents are telling their kid, go follow your dream, but those parents have not followed their own. Are you hearing me? Right? So for me, it's, well, how can I tell my kid to not like to follow his dreams and not be the example? Most like kids watch. Like y'all watched your parents, right? Or whoever you saw as a mentor, whoever you saw as your caregiver or whatnot growing up. You watched more than what they said. You watched what they did, right? And so for me, one of my driving forces is I want my kids to be able to like look at my life and my wife's life and say, yo, they said I need to follow my dream, but they showed me what it looked like. Here's the interesting part. Following your dream is not all flashy, right? Following your dream looks like hard work sometimes. It looks like tired days sometimes. It looks like not having good sleep sometimes, right? But it also looks like showing up regardless, right? You'll see us constantly show up even on the days where y'all probably don't know it's a rough day, right? right? Like, we will show up. You know why? Because this is what it looks like to build a dream. I think a lot of times most of us just want to show up when things are good, not realizing that there's times when things are not good. But when you still show up in those moments, you're showing this, like, good or bad, this is what it looks like to be consistent. So now what happens is this. So when my kids are pursuing their dreams, they've now seen what pursuing a dream looks like. So what happens is this. One of the reasons why most of us are tripped up is because we never saw someone push through a vision, a dream, and keep showing up despite, right? And so for them, they're gonna be like, yo, so when I go and pursue my dream, it means that there's gonna be ups and downs, but my job is to stay consistent through both. Is this making sense? Right? And so for me, my job is to be that example for them so that I am not a hypocrite, right? And so what does that do? Well, when I'm not motivated to do what I need to do as a business owner or as this, or I'm gonna do it because that's part of the gig. That's part of what it looks like. But the destination is so beautiful, or the journey itself is so beautiful, right? And so you have to find what fuels you. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, it's going to be easier for you to quit, but it's also going to be easier for you to keep pushing things off, procrastinating, saving it till later, as opposed to just saying, you know what? I am tired of playing games. I'm tired of wasting time. I need to find someone that can help me solve this problem because I am not the first. I'm not the first person to go through this obstacle. I'm not the last person to go through this obstacle. So why do I think I got to figure it out on my own? Why can't I just leverage the minds and resources of the people that have come before me? That's when the game starts to change for you. Does that make sense? So that's why motivation is overrated. It really is. If you're waiting to feel good about every move, you will wait a long time, a very, very long time. Okay. And you might end up just giving up on your dream altogether. So if that's what you want, cool. But for most people, that's not what they want. Does that make sense? So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was valuable. Give me some of your takeaways in the chat section for sure. And we'll see you on the next training. But real quick, if you found value in this, please share this out with another friend or another student that you feel would benefit from this. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you are a pre-PT student who's like, yo, I'm trying to figure out what my next steps are, what my next moves are, how to navigate through all this stuff, then go to acceptedstrategy.com, schedule a call with our team. If you're like, yo, I'm ready to put in the work right now, I need the direction, the clarity, the resources, go to www.acceptedstrategy.com and we will talk to you directly, figure out where you're at, help you build a game plan, and of course, point you in the right direction. So that's it. I hope this was valuable. Have a blessed one. We'll see you on the next training. Bye.